Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer, where we're unpacking the sheer economics and, honestly, the physical reality of staying in a brand new capsule hotel right in the middle of one of America's absolute most expensive tourist markets. If you've ever found yourself wondering how on earth to hack a Hawaiian vacation without, literally sleeping in your rental car, you are in the exact right place. We're looking at First Cabin International Hawaii, and we're going to break down exactly what 60 bucks buys you in paradise.
Here is our flight plan for today. We'll start with the Waikiki price problem. Enter the capsule hotel itself, crawl inside the $60 pod, explore the shared experience, and finally figure out who should actually stay here.
All right, Section 1, the Waikiki price problem. Let's get into it. The contrast here is just staggering when you look at the numbers. Compare the Waikiki average daily room rate of nearly $263 against First Cabin's $60 base rate. I mean, for years now, hotel prices in Waikiki have pretty much completely detached from gravity. If you're traveling on a strict budget, looking at a $263 average is, well, it's incredibly discouraging.
But actually, that average doesn't even tell the whole story. By the time you add in resort fees, self-parking, and a hefty 18.7% tax, a beachfront property can easily blow right through $600 a night, and that's just for the privilege of sleeping near the water. That massive $600 reality is exactly what's driving budget-conscious travelers to look for some pretty radical alternatives.
Which brings us to Section 2. Enter the capsule hotel.
Now, it's important to realize this concept isn't some quirky new TikTok invention. It actually evolved from a very practical Japanese necessity. Way back in 1979, the very first practical capsule hotel opened in Osaka, specifically for salarymen who worked late and missed the last train home. Fast forward to 2009, and chains like 9 Hours really elevated the whole thing with sleek, design-forward pods. And that brings us to 2025, where First Cabin just dropped 103 airline-themed pods right into the heart of Waikiki. So why Honolulu, right? Well, First Cabin explicitly framed this $2.75 million renovation as a way to reestablish an inviting environment for Japanese travelers. Their tourism had kind of cratered because of the yen's collapse, but at the same time, they're tossing a desperately needed lifeboat to Americans who are just bleeding from those local room rates. It's a really fascinating dual strategy targeting two totally different economic pain points.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, inside the $60 pod. Let's look at the actual physical reality of what you're getting here. The Premium Economy Plus pod is a 27-square-foot sleeping space with roughly a 4-foot ceiling. And there's no door. Yep, instead, you pull down a magnetized accordion curtain. To put that 4-foot ceiling into perspective, if you're sitting cross-legged on the bed, the distance from the top of your head to the ceiling is basically the length of an iPhone 17 Pro Max. So you don't walk into this room, you literally crawl into it. Inside, the thoughtful touches are surprisingly robust. You get a 24-inch swiveling TV, USB-C and power ports, a little mirror, towels, slippers, the works. But, and this is a big but, these are heavily balanced by some intense, rigidly enforced rules. Look at what's missing. No real door, no individual AC, and absolutely zero luggage space in the pod itself. Oh, and most importantly, there's a total zero-tolerance ban on food and drinks inside the pod.
And the friction doesn't magically stop once you leave your pod. Navigating the property introduces this whole unique set of challenges where you're forced to memorize multiple access codes like some kind of low-stakes spy. Just to brush your teeth, you need a code for the main suite, a code for the locker room where your stuff lives, a code for your gendered wing, and a code for the bathroom. It's definitely an operational quirk that takes a solid day or two to get used to.
Now you might be thinking, can I just pay for more space? Well, First Cabin does offer a first-class tier for $150 a night where you get 47 square feet and 7-foot ceilings so you can actually stand up to change clothes. But when you realize you still don't get a private ensuite bathroom at that price point, yeah, the math really only makes sense at the absolute cheapest $60 tier. That's where the true value is.
Which leads us to Section 4, the shared experience. Staying here means trading personal space for shared amenities, and they are remarkably clean, with some surprisingly luxurious perks. We're talking high-end Japanese bidet toilets, a gorgeous ocean view lounge with free Wi-Fi where you can actually eat your meals, and get this, private infrared sauna booths for just $5 an hour. But there is a major catch. The building goes into a strict lockdown from midnight to 6 a.m. So if you're a late-night partier, this early-to-bed schedule is going to be a massive deal-breaker for sure.
Visually, too, the pods can be, well, pretty jarring to the uninitiated. I mean, one guest texted photos to a friend and the immediate reaction was, "Is that a Tokyo morgue drawer?" Plus, if you end up drawing a top bunk, you have to climb these unpadded metal steps that will absolutely do a number on your shins if you aren't careful. It's a real aesthetic and physical adjustment.
And we have to talk about the true cost of that curtain. Because it's a magnetized accordion curtain, it leaks light, and it definitely leaks sound. The reality of capsule life is that somebody else's alarm clock is functionally your alarm clock. The bedding has what reviewers have perfectly described as papery acoustics, so every time you roll over, everyone hears it. You are going to hear your neighbors, and they are absolutely going to hear you.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5. Who should stay here?
Let's be definitive here. This is the absolute perfect sanctuary for solo travelers, digital nomads, or those dawn-to-dusk beachgoers who pack light and just need a cheap crash pad. But on the flip side, it is a guaranteed disaster for couples, families with kids, light sleepers, claustrophobes, or honestly anyone craving a traditional vacation vibe where you can just stretch out and lounge in your room. One 68-year-old guest actually summed up the physical toll and the generational divide perfectly. She said, "This is for the birds, the young birds." And she kind of hit the nail on the head. Climbing into those bunks, memorizing a dozen codes, and living out of a tiny locker requires a level of mobility and patience that really strongly caters to a younger, more flexible crowd. So, if you do decide to take the plunge, managing your expectations is absolutely crucial. Treat it like a horizontal premium economy seat, not a traditional hotel room. You'll want to book directly on their website to lock in that $50 to $60 base rate, because third-party sites will definitely upcharge you. Pro tip, always request a lower bunk to save your shins. And whatever you do, pack earplugs and a sleep mask. They are completely non-negotiable.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for your next Hawaiian trip. Are you willing to trade a lockable door and a couple hundred square feet of personal space for a $200 per night saving? Is this 27 square foot compromise the brilliant future of budget travel, or just a step entirely too far for your comfort? That's a choice you're going to have to make for yourself. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring your options.